Kaylin Kyle, Sasha Kleshin, and Dax McCarty. It's a Canadian kickoff as Toronto FC welcomed the Vancouver Whitecaps. For Toronto, 4 straight losses on the trot, and for Vancouver, sitting top of the Western Conference. So for the home side, Sash, is there anything we can be excited about?
I mean, it's a dire situation in Toronto right now, Kaylin. We saw Lorenzo Insigne get his first minutes last week against the New York Red Bulls and didn't look very good, to be honest. 0 shots, 0 key passes, 0 passes into the opponent's box. It wasn't good enough. What has to happen in Toronto is DeAndre Kerr and Derek Etienne have to play from the start. They were the only bright spots last week against the New York Red Bulls, combining for the goal that they scored. Robin Fraser has to get this one right, setting it up tactically, but also just getting better performances out of his players, especially in the midfield.
Yeah, Sash, listen, this Vancouver Whitecaps team, they're coming off their first loss of the season, but I don't think that they should have any loss of confidence because they were missing 6 or 7 key starters. I look at where Toronto FC is at, and the Vancouver Whitecaps are on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Vancouver is going to win this game. They get their internationals back. Brian White back to leading the line. But this game is all about the midfield. You get Pedro Vite and Andres Cubas back to partner Sebastian Berhalter. That Vancouver midfield has been one of the best in the league. I see Vancouver Whitecaps having absolutely no issues with this Toronto FC team, and I expect Vancouver to win this game.
Toronto welcoming Vancouver this coming Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. You can catch it right here on MLS Season Pass.
Duelo canadiense, Toronto FC contra Vancouver Whitecaps, 2:30 en el este próximo sábado y para todo el mundo. Arrancamos con el equipo de casa, con el equipo de Toronto, Michele Giannone.
No hay manera de maquillarlo, es el peor equipo de Major League Soccer. Robin Fraser está metido en un gran problemón. Tan malas están las cosas que la semana pasada reintegraron a Lorenzo Insigne. El italiano fue titular y jugó todo el partido. Se vio un poco oxidado, pero con Toronto hay que probar cualquier cosa. A ver si este equipo puede conseguir su primera victoria en casa. A ver ahora Insigne, que sí se vio obviamente un poco oxidado en el encuentro anterior, aunque consiguió una asistencia. A ver si puede comenzar a marcar diferencias, porque literalmente era Bernardeschi más 10.
El contraste gigante.
TFC fans, soccer fans, and maybe some Vancouver Whitecap fans. Thanks for hanging out with us today here on Toronto Sports Insider for our live hangout for Toronto FC hosting Vancouver Whitecaps at BMO Field. This is the view from the seats, our seats. I can't wait to get up to a game, but man, does it tell you how bad of a state this club is in right now. Please refill your drinks, get ready for the game, and cheer on our boys in red loud. Come on, 23rd minute. Anybody singing the song? Danny Dickey, yo! Anyways, I will be at Soldier Field tonight. I am going to be at a Montreal Impact game with my kids in Chicago while we're running the March Madness and Bracket Mania campaign. There it is with Evolution Soccer. We're going to be hanging out on the field there at Soldier Field. So we'll see you guys in the chat. Make sure you stop by our college basketball streams as well. The Leafs are playing tonight. Hockey night in Canada out on the West Coast against the LA Kings. And we've got the Blue Jays at 2 o'clock. Go TFC, go! Let's get the 3 points today, and we'll see you back in the chat. You got anything to say?
Not really.
Okay. See you guys.
Old Spice antiperspirant. Now I'm smelling like perspirant.
I did. Force 24/7 sweat protection.
You did this to my bitch.
Huddle up.
This is an easy win.
Number 1 in the game. The greatest.
Bueno, let's go for it.
The greatest of all toilets, right?
Yeah.
vibe. We about to level up. Got hot speed, that's supersonic, I never see. Got the Benz in the back, all eyes on me. I'm too fast, got hot speed, that's supersonic, I never see. Got the Benz in the back, all eyes on me. We about to level up.
The next icon of vacations, Star of the Seas. Book today.
Portland, Oregon makes its Sunday night soccer debut.
Bienvenidos a mi segunda casa, hoy con un partidazo nuevamente. Amin Bassi, ruthless.
I think the smile says it all.
Ahí está la pelota para Anthony. Un golazo de Anthony Alves Santos.
Qué jugada, ¿no? One of the best atmospheres in Major League Soccer.
Bienvenidos al Sunday Night Soccer.
I'm an overpowered leaf blower, and I'm not exactly street legal. And if you don't have the right auto coverage, this could really blow your budget. So get Allstate, save money, and be protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
All of my eyes, we praying on failure. We put in the work, our hands in the dirt. We knocking down all of the barriers. We cannot be stopped, just God is my witness. We cannot be finished, we won't be diminished at all. We spinning the block, we double the pop, we coming to ball.
Hola.
Maybe a different beer?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Okay, be right back.
Mr. Messi.
Michelob Ultra, superior light beer.
And a very warm welcome back to BMO Field for Toronto FC versus Vancouver Whitecaps. The rain has started to teem down here. Temperatures in the low 30s Fahrenheit, -5 Celsius. Let's hope that doesn't play its part in the game. And also let's hope the referees and officials don't have too much of a say as well. Lucas Spala, 76 games he's officiated since 2021, full of experience. And the VAR room has an abundance of experience as well. David Barry, 47 VAR assignments since 2017. So, such an occasion requires star power, requires a moment. Which city will be top dog? Will it be the metropolis of Toronto or the Metropolitans of Vancouver for what is the 99th meeting of two professional football teams from the cities of Vancouver and Toronto? Callum Williams alongside Caelan Carr, your commentary team. And Caelan, what a contest we have ahead here today.
Yeah, it's always good rivalry between these Canadian sides, but really other sides of the coin, with Vancouver flying high in first place and Toronto FC still desperate, searching for their first win of the season.
So is it a moment for the stars to shine? Is it an opportunity for the local players to have their say? It's a game and a rivalry that over time has developed into more than just sporting merits. For the 99th time between Toronto and Vancouver, away we go here at BMO Field. This time it's two sides at completely opposite ends of the scale and in need of wins for very different reasons. Caution and concern already starting to creep into the conversation in Toronto, whilst Vancouver have hardly ever had it this good. Callum Williams and Caelan Carr, your commentary team. Caelan, what to expect over the course of the next 90 minutes here today?
I think Toronto FC are going to be under it, and you can see from the opening whistle here, Vancouver coming out and being aggressive, trying to set the tone, and that's the way the season has gone for them. They've been able to tilt the field in their direction. Jesper Sorensen has done a fantastic job getting this team to navigate their way through multiple competitions, advanced all the way to the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, passing by Monterrey and Rayados. First time beating a Mexican side in that competition, so it's been already a fantastic start for them, and on the other side, it's been totally downhill for Robin Fraser's come back here, had so much success before building this program, but now has them having to dig themselves out of a hole. Last place in the Eastern Conference.
Toronto FC, one of 6 remaining teams without a win this year in Major League Soccer. They haven't gone without a win in the opening 5 since 2012, a year when they started the year 0-9. Mixture of star players and local talent now tasked with fixing the imminent issue for Toronto FC. Raul Petretta brings it forward for the home side. Derek Etienne back in the starting 11 for Robin Fraser's side. Nixon Gomes now expects a busy day against Brian White. 3 goals in the last 4 games for the former Red Bull New York centre-forward. Here's Coelho, the Spaniard. Tips him delightfully into the path of Bernardeschi. How they need something from him. Overlapping on the far side is Wingo. A high hanging ball is looping and loitering, and well dealt with by Berhalter for the time being. Osorio back in the 11 after international duty with Canada last week. Coelho.
You can see Toronto FC playing a man down right now with Insigne having to come already to get something replaced, whether a shin guard, it's hard to see.
Etienne. Steered to safety by Blackman for the time being, but picked up now by the bright-booted Italian Lorenzo Insigne. Here's Nixon Gomes amongst the rain in Toronto. Coelho. Etienne flicks it through, and Insigne is offside.
Yeah, and Insigne was the big surprise for me in the 11 to keep his place. Could understand it maybe in a moment of desperation during the international window. Get a quick little look here of bringing out the scissors early. Has not played at all in those first 4 matches, didn't even dress, and then immediately steps into the 11 away at Red Bull Arena. We were there and started up top with Bernardeschi in a 3-5-2 formation. It did not work. He was not effective. He's not able to imprint himself on the game at all. It's hard to expect much of him after he's been on the shelf and not started since September of last season. But then again, keeps his place today. Drops back a line a little bit underneath as DeAndre Kerr rightfully steps into the 11 after his performance off the bench in the last game. But already a bit of a strange one with him having to come off, and that's sort of been the story with Insigne, not able to rely on him. They're hoping for a moment of special quality. It's a bit of a gamble with him playing against that midfield from Vancouver that's so strong.
His performance didn't go unnoticed last week. In the meantime, here's Nelson, the boy from Brampton, Ontario, just on the outskirts of Toronto, and winning the first corner of the afternoon for Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, but that's what he brings. It's just that pace, the ability to stretch him behind those deep-lying runs, and then that touch takes him a little bit strong there. Rosted able to come over and clear it out, but that's what Nelson brings, that ability to stretch the field with that verticality.
So Berhalter will look to find the likes of Vasilinovic and co. Vancouver looking to take an early lead and perhaps test Sean Johnson in the opening exchanges here at BMO Field. Matchday 6 on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Berhalter's ball in, the heads go up, Blackman got a piece of it. Osorio and Laborda to chase. Johnson. Angled ball played in, nudged down towards Nelson, who let fly, and into the stands it goes.
It's a whipped-in ball here, and Brian White just elects to nod it back down. It's a difficult one coming to his off foot across his body, and Jaden Nelson unable to get on top of it.
50th MLS appearance today for the boy from Brampton, Ontario. Was a Toronto FC homegrown player, on goal and 3 assists in 45 TFC appearances. How much a goal would mean for him today? Osorio charging down the imminent danger. Here's Etienne. Nelson tussling. Too aggressive for the referee's liking.
Yeah, but you can see Osorio dropping a little bit deeper than maybe we're traditionally used to seeing him, and that's because Insigne is taking up that 10 position, and Osorio's going to have to do a little bit more of the dirty work, playing almost as a twin 6 alongside Coelho, trying to stop Vancouver from getting out in moments in transition.
Now at the feet of Ilhei Takaoka. Vancouver Whitecaps, of course, losing to Chicago Fire last week. It was the first defeat of the season in Major League Soccer and the first in 8 in all competitions. Because they have an integral CONCACAF Champions Cup quarter-final contest next week against Pumas. First leg at BC Place, of course. Petretta finding Gomes. Osorio up into the sky. Nelson amongst the red forest. Down, earning a free kick. Osorio slightly perplexed. Robin Fraser watching on. Said his side have had obvious growing pains. Have been stung by some moments this year. Victory would be enormous. Want to give the fans something to be proud of here. They are making progress, but they are far from satisfied as it stands. Now they have some defending to do against the in-form Vancouver Whitecaps, 4-1 so far this year in Major League Soccer. Berhalter over the set piece, and a myriad of maybes awaiting the service. Swinger from Berhalter, delicious ball across goal. Whipped right within that corridor of uncertainty, and Vancouver unable.
Sebastian Berhalter's service has been excellent this season. It drops it in the perfect spot, right on the 6, and you can see it just coming across on the slick surface. It comes quickly there, and Laporta unable to get enough on it. Blackman was right there if he would have left it, and then clatters himself right into that goal post, but excellent service there from Berhalter.
10 home losses last season for Toronto FC. Only San Jose were defeated more on home soil across Major League Soccer in 2024. What was once a fortress, BMO Field, has been anything but in recent years. They need to find a way to win home games. Fraser, experienced MLS head coach, knows how vital home games are here, particularly with the fan base Toronto FC have at their disposal. In the meantime, Vancouver pushing forwards. Will be in momentarily. Down the line, oh, TFC. Kerr pushed to one side. Jesper Sorgensen, the Danish head coach, the new man in charge of Vancouver Whitecaps, said he knew how he wanted to play coming into the job at Vancouver. He said the players have executed much quicker than he expected. It's like an orchestra at the moment. It all has to flow exactly how he wants it to. And my word, hasn't it been just that so far?
Yeah, the adaptation has been quicker than maybe anybody could have expected. And there were some question marks coming in this offseason with Vanni Sartini's departure, and then Stuart Armstrong, their designated player, going back to England. And all questions so far early on this season have been answered so far.
Here's Ali Ahmed, White, towards the edge it goes. Berhalter has his pocket picked. Insigne now with a challenge, and it falls fortuitously into the path of Etienne. Dealt with comprehensively by Kubas, who earns the free kick.
Yeah, get used to hearing that. Andreas Kubas is just so good at recovering the ball in those positions. When Toronto FC want to get out, in those moments in transition.
Here's Nelson, cross goal it goes, and forced behind by Rosted for a corner.
Just see this one coming across, and it's a nice little recovery there, and this is where Toronto want to try to get out. Misses the first one, but the recovery right here from Kubas, just excellent to be able to get all the way there. And one of the more underrated sixes for me in MLS, and one loss they have last week against Chicago. It's not a coincidence he was absent.
10 goals scored thus far for Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer. Only Philly and Orlando have scored more across the league so far. 5 away goals. Can they make it 6 here? Berhalter's ball in. Hits go up and cleared away off the line. Ahmed back in. And gathered by Johnson, and thus passes the first real opening of the contest, Kalen.
Yes. Toronto have given up a few set pieces. It's a lovely ball in here, and Brian White, so dangerous in the air, does the right thing, going towards the back post, and Perteta is in the right position because John Johnson is beaten.
Here's Takaoka. Blackman forward. Jean-Claude Ngandal, Cameroon international, born and raised in the Paris suburbs. Now a free kick to Vancouver again. Much to his dismay. Vancouver 7-6-4 on the road last season. 26 goals away from home, the 3rd highest in the Western Conference last year. Away wins at Dallas and Portland in MLS already this campaign. Here's Blackman. Moving forward now for Vancouver Whitecaps on the left-hand side. Here's Andres Cubas, the Paraguayan international. It's Silinovic. Blackman stepping away from Kerr. Stern challenge made in the centre of midfield, and now the home side can perhaps press forward. Etienne, who provided the assist for the goal in New York last week. Here's Derek Etienne, just away from the grasp of Insigne. Now Vancouver perhaps have their turn to push. Thrust forward now for White. Gomis across the cover. Berhalter. It's been such a wonderful start to the campaign for Vancouver Whitecaps. The last time they started 4-1 was all the way back in 2015 under Carl Robinson.
Yeah, but it's a different feel this season. It feels like this team can make some noise in a way that maybe in years past you weren't quite sure about. And I think the way they started the season, just absolutely destroying Portland Timbers and then carrying it forward through multiple competitions. They've tested the depth continually. Players have improved from last season.
Heavily done by Ngandal. Required an intervention from several in Toronto colours, still not cleared away. Referee spotted an infringement and a handball, and a free kick for Toronto.
They've used their depth as well, with Ngando coming in today, with Petrovite getting a little bit of a rest, and it's really paid off for them.
The player spotlight is presented by Allstate. You are in good hands. Lorenzo Insigne never want to be shied away from a headline. There was so much talk during the week here in Toronto about how disappointing the fan base have been with him. Of course, was linked heavily with a move away from the football club in the off-season. Options in Turkey, Spain, and a return to Italy, and then an option in the Middle East, allegedly presented to the former Italian international. He said no, wants to remain committed to the project here at Toronto FC. There was those in attendance at Red Bull Arena that noticed last week how frustrating his performance was. There were even those in Toronto, Kellen, that identified Insigne's performance as insignificant.
Well, yeah, he was a passenger for 97 minutes, and I don't know what you would expect from a man that hasn't started a match since last September. He had to walk through most of it, and Yes, he was, played up top with Bernardeschi in a 2-forward formation. It didn't work, and Fraser changed it. That's where they were able to find some success, and that's why you see today them going to the 4-3-3 to begin with. But I was surprised to see Insigne keep his place in the 11, because most of the time you have to account for him, and it's not quite worth it for me. Based on what I've seen, he hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt, and I understand why the fans are frustrated.
Laborda, the Uruguayan, nudged away by the head of Norwegian centre-half Rosted. Lovely done by Osorio, local boy from Toronto, and the idea was right, execution not so much. Here's Cubas, ex-Boca Juniors. Vasilinovic. 112 clearances in Major League Soccer last year, the highest across any centre-half in the league. Ahmed and Gandol combining on the far side. Wingo manoeuvring forwards. Jonathan Osorio, the captain for Toronto FC. Rosted. 50th MLS appearance for the Norwegian centre-half. Here's Petretta manoeuvring inside. Gomes, formerly of Sheffield United. Insigne into Kerr, goal scorer at Red Bull Arena last week. Bernardeschi looking for half a yard. A free kick again in favour of Vancouver.
Yeah, it was good work there from Blackman to come over and double down, because when Bernardeschi gets this, the head goes down and the second man comes across to help, a nudge in the back. It's good cover there from Blackman.
So just short of the 18-minute mark at BMO Field, Kalen Carr, what's the observation of the game thus far?
It's been what I expected, with Vancouver setting the tone, keeping control of possession, and then Toronto FC looking for those moments in transition. They haven't come as of yet, but with DeAndre Kerr, at least there's a threat in behind. That allows a little bit more space for Bernardeschi to try to operate in the wings, and Derek Etienne Jr., but you'll see a lot of this, them looking to pick their points, and then those big switches coming across to Ahmed.
Exhibit A, as Ahmed challenges amongst the Torontonian sky. Gandol. Berhalter. Diaz Laborda. Nelson looking for half a yard, and Petretta there to provide the necessary challenge this time and win a throw.
And that's a matchup that Vancouver will like. To try to go one-on-one with Petretta, force him to turn and defend, and does well to stay behind there and earn the throw here.
Here is Nelson. Insigne cleverly into the path of the former Seattle Sounders man, Henry Wingo. Thrashes forward now for Bernardeschi. Perhaps an opportunity here for TFC. Bernardeschi slips it through. Insigne! Well charged down by a flurry of Vancouver Whitecaps players in behind for a corner.
Yeah, that's a good moment there from Insigne, who helps them break pressure by playing it to the far side of the pitch and then continues his run forward. And then this lovely little slip ball there from Bernardeschi, cutting it across the grain, but Blackman does well to track it.
What a goal would mean to Lorenzo Insigne here today. 54 caps for the Italian national team over the years. Bernardeschi had his fair share of opportunities with the national team in Italy as well. Both Euro 2020 winners, beating England in the final several years ago, of course. Now a litany of red to aim for Federico Bernardeschi. Lovely whipped ball in. Oka came a long way. Coelho falls to Petretta. Wingo now surveying the scene. Back out wide he goes. Gomes. Coelho. Young ahead of Kerr. Rosted eager to keep the move alive. And Vancouver Whitecaps make the necessary clearance. Wingo thrashing back in. Blackman able to get the better of Lorenzo Insigne, the nearest challenger. Toronto have lost their last 3 games in a row against Vancouver. Last win against the Whitecaps came all the way back in 2020. Single solitary goal from Richie Laryea doing the business on that occasion. Two sides with an abundance of history, as we mentioned earlier on. It's the 99th meeting between 2 professional football teams from the cities of Vancouver and Toronto. And here come Vancouver. Ahmed with the ball in. Nelson loitering at the back post. Petretta and Etienne doing enough. Although Etienne giving a short back pass, not what Gomes would have wanted. Laborda. Toronto get away with it.
Yeah, or do they? This is a poor back pass here from Etienne Jr. Is trying to keep it in play here. And once again, this is what Vancouver does. Is that once they lose it, they immediately back press you, and then try to create these overloads, little combination play on the flank. But now another dangerous set piece opportunity for Berhalter, whose service has been very dangerous. Keep an eye on Blackman, who they've done a good job running across it.
So can Sean Johnson and co be tested again? Berhalter's ball in. Referee spots an infringement. And in the corner will need to be retaken. And a chance for Vancouver to test a Toronto backline that have conceded 12 goals already this season, the worst defensive record in Major League Soccer. So here we go again. Sebastian Berhalter. The heads go up. Into the sky it goes, and Wingo scrambling away.
I think there's going to be a long throw here from Tristan Blackman. Will sort of function like a corner. Brian White, Laborda, 2 good options.
Silinovic loitering as well as the ball lands inside the 6-yard box, comfortably into the grasp of Sean Johnson. Of course, Toronto FC making 5 new signings thus far. That's of Saint Monlouis, Ulla Brynhildsen and Theo Corvinu, perhaps the standout names added to the team. They have some defending to do on this occasion, though. Ahmed getting closer and closer to goal. Slips it through for White. Angle against the former Red Bull man, and Wingo clearing away.
Yeah, it's been a couple times, though, where they look for that big switch to Ahmed, allow him to face up and run right at that Toronto FC back line.
Johnson inside. Kubas. Laborda's ball in. Right across the face of goal it goes again. Was attacked by Ngando, well wide of the intended target. White had plenty of thoughts inside the box as well.
Yeah, but using the wide areas has been fruitful so far for Vancouver Whitecaps. Have just continued to apply pressure, and look at this team. It's why they have the most touches in the opponent's boxes in MLS. They just tilt the field, they stretch you side to side, and then you have a target like Brian White running numbers across it. Always going to be dangerous.
Well, this exclusive Netcam replay is brought to you by T-Mobile, and it does, Caleb, present the best opening we've had thus far.
Yeah, and it's Brian White once again getting free in the box, and just always seems to find a way to get his head to it. His timing, his ability. He's not the tallest, but his timing is impeccable as far as elevating and then coming across the technique. Sean Johnson was beat on that. It was good positioning from Rosted.
And then it falls to Petretta. Etienne. Kerr rose. Falls to Osorio. Can Toronto find a way here? Bernadeschi. Behind for a goal kick. Well, as we said earlier on, 5 new signings for Toronto FC so far this season. A conversation with Robin Fraser yesterday. Said there are conversations being had and things are in the works with regards to bringing in new players. And on the pitch before the game, Kellen, you spoke to the GM, Jason Hernandez, who echoed that statement.
Yeah, I asked him plainly, is there someone else coming in and are there reinforcements coming? He said, as long as the window is open, we will be active. And I took that to mean sooner than later. And with the way this team has had to go through injuries already, the form, of course, they need help. I think that's part of why you see Insigne coming into the lineup. It's a bit of a sign of desperation. And Fraser has said, yes, there's been positivities, but it's a difficult balance to go with, you know, some optimism, but you also have to have some honesty, some accountability within the group. And right now, it hasn't been good enough for this Toronto FC team. So you have to have some harsh truths, of course, amongst the optimism and trying to build something. But no doubt about it, this team is shorthanded and needs some reinforcements.
A very, very different team to the one that Robin Fraser helped coach as an assistant to MLS Cup in 2017 under Greg Vanni. How much Lorenzo Insigne and the Italian international we all know and raved about over the years. How much Toronto FC could do with that iteration of Insigne now.
Yeah, but I don't see it coming, and I think that's where the frustration comes in. Is you see the quality of him being, top scorer for Napoli and his leadership, and where has that been? I was here in the pregame, and you see Sebastian Giovinco walking through the hallways, and that's the standard. And Robin Fraser as well, when he was, with Greg Vanni and lifted these trophies with this team. That's what the standard has been set, and now they have to dig their way out of it. And when you're looking for your designated player, yes, $15 million price tag. That's the second highest reportedly in MLS behind Lionel Messi. So he hasn't even dressed for the first 4 matches, and that's where I think the disappointment comes in, the frustration comes. But I do think it rings different coming from Robin Fraser, because he's helped set the standard, and now they have to find their way to dig their way out of this.
Here's Bernadeschi into Rosted. Has to retreat for the time being. Fraser did say to us things are starting to come together, but today this is the best Vancouver Whitecaps side he's seen over the last couple of years. Very forward-thinking. Expects a tough day today. It's a Western Conference showdown in one of the best environments Major League Soccer has to offer, when Ezequiel Ponce and the Houston Dynamo visit Providence Park to take on David da Costa and the Portland Timbers on Sunday Night Soccer. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Eastern with MLS Countdown right here on MLS Season Pass. What a contest that'll be. Your former employers, Kalen Carr, with the difficult task at Portland Timbers.
I've been loving Sunday Night Soccer. Getting to sit back and relax the day after our matches, and it's been a real thrill to watch, and no better environment than Portland, one of the best in MLS.
There was a time when BMO Field was christened as one of the best in Major League Soccer. One has to wonder what needs to happen if those days are to return. No playoff appearance for Toronto since a round 1 exit in 2020. I suspect a return to the postseason would be a good start. Lots of work ahead for DeAndre Kerr, Robin Fraser and co. Rosted, chased down by White. Johnson repelling for the time being. Kubas to Berhalter. Stilinovic surveying the scene.
See, with the ball, Sorensen has dropped Kubas a little bit deeper to build out of 3, and that allows Laborda to push forward on this right flank.
Silinovic again, the big suppressive Serb. Sees his pass into the arms of Sean Johnson for TFC. Over 50 appearances now for Toronto FC for the 35-year-old goalkeeper, your former teammate at Chicago Fire, Kalen.
Yeah, and he mentioned in the week accountability amongst this group, and he has that experience. This man right here, Osorio, as well, will come back into the team and really needed that personality in the group. It's been a bit lacking, and some of that leadership. And also thought Derek Etienne Jr., a guy that came off the bench in the last game, that's why he deserves the start today. Osorio's been the heart and soul of this club for a long time now, and him coming back in, playing a little bit of a deeper role today.
49 goals in 306 regular season appearances in Major League Soccer for TFC, for Jonathan Osorio, born and raised in Toronto. Of course, played in games against Mexico and the United States in the recent international break. Gomes strong and stern when needed. It's the sort of challenge we expect to see in an all-Canadian clash.
Yeah, it's a slick surface too. We were down there before the game, and it's a cold day, so hard tackles certainly be a part of it anytime these two teams play.
Nelson nudging into the path of Whites. Here come Vancouver in numbers. Berhalter lending a helping hand. Over to the far side, and Johnson. Ahmed unable to control. Bernadeschi now losing the ball, and White looking to find a way through. Gomes on hand again.
Yeah, but the counter press from Vancouver has been excellent right there. It was really good hold-up play from Brian White, but once they lose it, they're right back on top of you with Sebastian Berhalter and Kubas.
Berhalter. Laborda. Able to find a way past Etienne. Laborda. Pedretta standing his ground. And winning a free kick. The player comparison is presented by Celsius, pure passion and maximum energy with zero sugar. Jonathan Osorio and Ali Ahmed, two Torontonians, have been in the thick of things in the opening half an hour.
Yeah, a little bit different roles for the Canadian internationals, with Ahmed being pushed a line further up, can play in the middle of midfield in that three, but out playing on that left flank today, looking to isolate him one-on-one, and Osorio has to sit a bit deeper, take a bit more of a defensive posture, but both back from international duty, claiming that third place in CONCACAF Nations League.
So for those of you joining us late, chances have been few and far between. It's been a tense opening 33 minutes or so in the frigid temperatures here in downtown Toronto. TFC 14th in the Eastern Conference, the Whitecaps first in the West. Two sides at completely opposite ends of the scale, in need of victories for very different reasons. Gomes now finding Coelho. Johnson repelling. Jean-Claude Ngando striding forward into the path of Ali Ahmed, a Toronto-born player. Kubas. Nelson. Osorio reading the pass all the way. To shift gears momentarily. Signe losing out. Fortuitously for him, winning a free kick. Full-time Serie A runner-up with Napoli, Lorenzo Insigne. Second straight start for the first time since mid-September of last year. Wingo. Forcefully down the line for Bernadeschi. What can TFC conjure here? Federico Bernardeschi stopped in his tracks by Blackman.
Yeah, but it's the second time we've seen the same thing with Blackman coming over, understanding, sure, you might beat Johnson, but you'll have that second number coming, and it's predictable. When Bernardeschi gets it in that wide area, he's going to run at you, put that head down, and Blackman has been alert and positioned very well to come over and provide that help with that second number.
Brian White's challenge deemed late, clumsy, and illegal. Federico Bernardeschi.
Yeah, but this is exactly the run here with Blackman coming across where Bernardeschi's head is down. He doesn't even see him coming, just positioned, sees where the play is coming ahead, and then this is the late one coming across from Brian White, always doing the dirty work up top and picks up the foul there. But defensively, it's been really strong from Vancouver. Have not given up much, only 4 goals against on the season. You can see why with the positioning of the 2 central backs today.
Osorio thrashing forwards. How much Toronto needs something from him. Bernardeschi, a 3-time Serie A winner with Juventus, of course, over the years. 8 goals, 8 assists. Last year was his best MLS campaign yet. Miscue from Gomes. Rosted forced to tidy up. Osorio. Petretta. Thrust forward now for Ali Ahmed. He has wandered into an offside position.
Toronto have not been able to break pressure well and just not on the same page. There was a Petretta looks up, Etienne Jr., Kerr, all making the same runs, looking for that ball in behind, but not varying it. And that's what happens sometimes when you've had to shift the lineup and chop and change so much. You don't have that sort of continuity or understanding of who's playing what position, how to run off each other, and it's looked all out of sorts so far today.
Timed pass from Osorio.
Yeah, but that's the case in point, right? It's just playing a little bit of a different position, dropping deeper, and it just that lack of confidence, that connection, that's a part of it, no doubt about it. But that's the position Toronto have been in when they've had to make these changes, and right now it's just that lack of confidence is standing out for this early on in this match for Toronto FC.
Osorio. Coelho poignantly down the line. Here come Toronto FC through Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi thrashed away by Berhalter. Rosted getting the better of White and Co. Signe between the lines. Etienne. Find DeAndre Kerr waiting the service. Stern challenge from Nelson, not enough to earn a free kick according to the referee. Pulls the border into action. Coelho. Petretta to DeAndre Kerr. 2 goals in the last 2 games. For the boy from Ajax, Ontario. And they get a chance here. Insigne. Nudged forward. Scrambled away by Branko Veselinovic. Gomes trying to pick out the run of Etienne, too much behind the pass, and on the slick surface it goes behind for a goal kick. Jayden Nelson, of course, very familiar with these surroundings.
Yeah, he reads this one well, and you can tell me that playing against your former club, it's just another game, but it's a lie. It's just, I've been in that position, and you just have something extra in it. And yes, Jayden Nelson from here, I'm sure he'll have many friends and family in attendance, being from Brampton, which has been a hotbed of so many talented players that have come through Toronto FC and across the U.S. the Canadian men's national team and women's national team for that as well. But coming back here now as different players, 5 assists on the season, all competitions, and a little extra motivation today.
3 of those on opening day against Portland Timbers, let's not forget. In the meantime, Vancouver with defence on their mindset. Here's Etienne. Support arriving in Petretta. Jonathan Osorio now. Can TFC force a way through as we approach the half-time interval? Cleverly done. Centre of midfield, and Nelson also involved in the trickery as well between him and Kubas, and now Vancouver can manoeuvre themselves forward. Ali Ahmed picking up the ball on the far side. Ahmed's ball across, just away and out of reach of Nelson. The referee has blown the whistle in favour of Toronto as well. It's a long old season. I do wonder if we'll see any of these players at some point. These are the team benches built by the Home Depot. No doubt Toronto FC, as Jason Hernandez insinuated earlier on, will be looking to add to that bench with the likes of Thompson and Brynhildsen, Corbeanu, Davy Flores, Tyrese Spicer, all experienced, some of them seasoned internationals nowadays, as well as Vancouver manoeuvre themselves forward. Manuel Sabi, a player I'm sure many Whitecaps fans want to see more of. Pedro Vite on international duty with Ecuador during the international break, finds himself available on the bench. Jesper Sorkansson insinuating to us doesn't want to risk a player as important as him at this stage of the season. No doubt we'll see him at some point though.
Yeah, that match with Pumas on Wednesday, I'm sure will be a big part of that decision. And Vite with Ecuador, travel. A number of players had to come straight to Toronto to meet the squad here, and so they've had to manage that. That's been a part of their beginning of the season. 5 matches in the next 15 games, so you have to be intelligent in the way you use these players and how you manage them.
There's Wingo. Another free kick to Vancouver.
DeAndre Kerr there, he just hasn't been able to really find his way into the game and hasn't quite hit that right balance of when to check back for hold-up play and when to stretch in behind to try to be a bit of a safety valve to bring a release, and Johnson does a really good job of stepping in front there. He's done a good job, only 19 years old, and reads the game very well, but has been allowed on both wings, him and Laborda have been able to push forward into the attack without that threat in behind coming from Toronto FC. Play quick here.
Here come Vancouver down the line. Ali Ahmed forward now for Ngando, behind for a corner. Jean-Claude Ngando, ex-Amiens and Paris FC.
And just plays one quick, and Ngando just gets towards the end line. Coelho comes across, but a number of these corner kick opportunities. The set-piece delivery has been strong from Berhalter all season, and I just feel like at a certain point, Toronto FC, with this pressure, how long can they hold it?
Can Vancouver find a way through? In swinging ball is punched away by Johnson. Picked up by Tate Johnson. Johnson across goal, and from one Johnson to another. Goalkeeper Johnson able to make the save, and flash forward now for TFC. Jean-Claude Ngando. Early ball in, catches everybody off guard. So we mentioned DeAndre Kerr a little earlier on. Kalen Carr, 2 goals in his last 2 games for the 3rd time in his career. He's never scored 3 goals in 3. How did Toronto get him more involved in the contest?
Well, at least he's a number 9. You know, they began the last game without one, and I think at that point you have to respect the spacing, but he hasn't been able to bring himself into the game as of yet because it's really been dominated from possession. Anytime they've lost it, Vancouver have been quick to recover it.
DeAndre Kerr now, a chance for him to stretch the legs and get involved. Down under the challenge. Here come TFC on the cusp of half-time. Do we have a late goal? Etienne. Osorio. Skipping away from Kubas. Into DeAndre Carr. Carr across goal. No recipients this time. Added time is presented by Aldi. A minute of added time. Do we have one more opening for either side? Here's Lorenzo Insigne. Gomes. Bernardeschi with an early ball forward now for Lorenzo Insigne. Does keep the ball in play. Here comes Toronto FC. Bernardeschi just unable to pick out Osorio, who was loitering on the edge. Wonderful tackle from Petretta on the near side. Thrashing into the danger zone, which Johnson can clear away. And so there comes to an end of the opening 45 minutes in what has been a impressive opening 45 minutes between two sides that have seen chances not come their way in the manner in which they would have wanted them to. In fact, chances have been few and far between in what has been a tight contest in the opening 45 minutes here at BMO Field. It ends between Toronto FC and Vancouver Whitecaps 0-0 at the break. Stay with us, more to come after the break.
ML party of 3.
When you're with Amex Platinum, exclusive dining benefits and travel perks like room upgrades at fine hotels and resorts, wow, make going out for your favorite food take on a whole new meaning. That's the powerful backing of American Express.
Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. Celsius. Live fit.
80. Consagras el futuro, hermano.
We about to level up. Too fast, got hot speed, that supersonic I never see. Got the Benz in the back, all eyes on me. I'm too fast, got hot speed, that supersonic I never see. Got the Benz in the back, all eyes on me. We about to level up.
The next icon of vacations, Star of the Seas. Book today.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Oopsies. You go.
No, you go.
Oh.
Go for the handful.
Can we stop for food?
No, hay comida en la casa.
Welcome to the Audi halftime report. At the break at BMO Field, goalless between Toronto FC and Vancouver Whitecaps. So then, in an all-Canadian clash here on a frigid day on the outskirts of downtown Toronto, in a game where both sides need victory for very different reasons. It was Vancouver that nearly took the lead midway through the first half.
Yeah, it's been a really good service from Berhalter and Brian White, who else so good as far as his timing goes. And Johnson is beat there, but Petretta is in the right position there to clear that off the line.
Another chance would come in the way of Vancouver Whitecaps manoeuvring themselves forward. Johnson very nearly testing out Toronto FC, and Sean Johnson making the necessary save. And at the other end of it as well, Caelan Carr, Toronto FC having their best opportunity towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, but this is when the one bright spot as far as when you get in this position and Kerr plays it across. And look at Bernardeschi standing on the top corner of the 18. When you're the far side striker, you have to come across. Your number 9 comes and looks for that cutback. It's their only chance they've gotten to that point in the match. You have to get there if you're Bernardeschi.
So then, from a statistical and a numerical point of view, Caelan Carr, what stands out to you here?
I mean, it's just bleak. 0 XG, right? And they have the lowest XG for Toronto FC in MLS so far this season. It's been that bad. So you have to take your chance when they come, and that's why it was so disappointing at the end to not see Bernardeschi commit numbers in the box when you're playing up front with 3.
Just the 6 goals scored so far this year for Toronto, the 3rd lowest in the Eastern Conference. Elsewhere, the best players in North America take centre stage on July 23rd at 8 p.m. Central when the MLS All-Stars meet the Liga MX All-Stars at the 2025 MLS All-Star Game. This match marks the first professional All-Star Game to be played in Austin, and we broadcast live and exclusively on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Tickets for the MLS All-Star Game and the MLS All-Star Skills Challenge presented by AT&T are now on sale at MLSsoccer.com/All-Star. And how Toronto could do with an all-star moment here at BMO Field. Goalless between TFC and Vancouver Whitecaps at the break.
At RBC Wealth Management, we know you have ideas for your future. Ideas that can have you enjoying the moment or owning the moment. They can bring investment opportunities or opportunities to invest in yourself. Ideas that can have you doing good or feeling great. From following your passion to making your passion work for you. What ideas will you bring to life? Know more with RBC Wealth Management.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed. Like booking the right rental car. Where's the rest of it?
Did you forget we had kids?
A friendly game staying friendly. Yo, chill, Granny.
It's a bank loan.
Or being alone during alone time. Yeah, that's not guaranteed. You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, the deals you want, and the service you deserve. Or we'll make it right. That's the AT&T guarantee.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins
it! Jameson, a famously smooth whiskey from a famously big family. So big that Jose here could be one of us. You see, he's nearly as smooth as our whiskey. For him, wrong turns usually turn out all right. Even when he shows up uninvited he's never empty-handed. And he only ever drinks smooth Jameson whiskey. Surely he must be part of the family. Must be a Jameson.
Welcome back to the Audi halftime report at BMO Field. Goalless in the all-Canadian clash between Toronto FC and Vancouver Whitecaps. And so, elsewhere in the world of Major League Soccer, so much football coming your way later today, including Lionel Messi and co. against high-flying Philadelphia Union. The other early game, Kalen, 1-1 between the Revs and Red Bull New York.
Yeah, I think both of these early matches have some intrigue, partly due to the desperation. And New England getting the lead through who else? Carlos Hill. They've been desperate for a goal, only an own goal so far to begin this season, but then give one up right before halftime to Choupo-Moting.
Some mouth-watering games later as well. The Galaxy against Orlando, San Diego against LAFC as well. The top performance is presented by Audi. And Vancouver Whitecaps have made use of their set pieces all season. That once again has been evident today.
Yeah, they've been dangerous through all phases of the game, through possession, through counter-attacking, and set pieces feel like that might be the difference today. And give credit to Toronto FC. They've bended but haven't broken as of yet. But this pressure, the consistent surface, and then the second balls, once they get it down, this one doesn't quite come off there from Johnson, but lovely little run through the box there, and they've been dangerous on those set pieces through good service from Berhalter today.
This is Major League Performance. This is Audi, official automotive partner of Major League Soccer. Vancouver Whitecaps have been the busiest, Kalen, down the left-hand side. Ali Ahmad has had plenty of the ball.
Yeah, they've looked for the big switch to try to isolate him in the one-on-one position to go against Wingo, with Tate Johnson coming around the outside. So through those flanks have been the dangerous areas because there hasn't been a lot through the middle.
Well, the question is, have you watched Onside Major League Soccer yet? If not, you're seriously missing out. With exclusive access to players, coaches and clubs, this docu-series dives deep into the electrifying moments and stories that make the 2024 season unforgettable. All episodes are now streaming on Apple TV+. Go and check it out. And so, those fans wait for a moment they desperately crave. A magical moment. A goal of some sort will do for either side in the all-Canadian clash. The second half of Toronto, Vancouver is next.
So, we doing this?
If we do, there goes moving to Paris.
We were never moving to Paris. We got this.
We're buying a house.
We're buying a house.
Let's buy a house.
Order a croissant. You'll feel French.
I do like croissants. Just donuts, fancy cousin. Can I get a croissant, please?
At RBC Wealth Management, we know you have ideas for your future. Ideas that can have you taking more time off or putting more time in. They could mean more peace and quiet or more fun and games.
TFC fans, soccer fans, and maybe some Vancouver Whitecap fans. Thanks for hanging out with us today here on Toronto Sports Insider for our live hangout for Toronto FC hosting Vancouver Whitecaps at BMO Field. This is the view from the seats, our seats. I can't wait to get up to a game, but man, does it tell you how bad of a state this club is in right now. Please refill your drinks, get ready for the game, and cheer on our boys in red loud. Come on, 23rd minute, anybody singing the song? Danny Dickey, yo! Anyways, I will be at Soldier Field tonight. I am going to be at a Montreal Impact game with my kids in Chicago while we're running the March Madness and Bracket Mania campaign. There it is with Evolution Soccer. We're going to be hanging out on the field there at Soldier Field. So we'll see you guys in the chat. Make sure you stop by our college basketball streams as well. The Leafs are playing tonight. Hockey night in Canada out on the West Coast against the LA Kings. And we've got the Blue Jays at 2 o'clock. Go TFC, go! Let's get the 3 points today, and we'll see you back in the chat. You got anything to say?
Not really.
Okay. See you guys.
Over BMO Field, the supporter cam is brought to you by Lowe's. Visit Lowe's for the ultimate assist on your next project, and no doubt about it, Kalen Carr, the fans here have been through just about everything.
Yeah, and they've had to suffer, this team has had to go suffer on the road through four of their first 6 matches away, and lost their home opener. Now get a chance. It's 0-0 at halftime. It hasn't been pretty, but it doesn't matter. You're supposed to get a result however you can. These fans will not care and how it happens, and at this point, they've got a 0-0 game going into the second half against this Vancouver team, and I think a good platform to take a bit of a risk in the second half and reward these fans with a good performance.
The Red Patch boys, U sector and Kings in the North, have seen it all, and how they would love a return to the glory days, how they would love a moment for those two Italians to shine. Lorenzo Insigne given a second straight start for the first time since mid-September of last year. Jonathan Osorio at the heart of midfield for Toronto FC, no doubt. Raul Petretta, the individual who, of course, was able to repel the best opportunity for Vancouver Whitecaps in the opening 45 minutes, clearing the ball away from the line. His body language would insinuate that it is absolutely freezing here.
Yeah, he's been smart as well with his positioning defensively here, of course, on the set piece, but even going against Jaden Nelson, where he's at a speed disadvantage at times, he's been able to use his body and his positioning, a little bit of his guile to try to win balls, and we saw those attacking zones. It was more down the other side of the pitch, which will be a compliment to him in the first half, but it only takes one moment. He's been alert so far today.
So then, the 99th meeting between two professional football clubs from Toronto and Vancouver underway again. Toronto FC, one of 6 teams remaining this year in Major League Soccer without a victory. Vancouver Whitecaps flying high at the top of the Western Conference. Victory for Jesper Sorensen's side would put them even further ahead at the peak of the Western Conference. Callum Williams alongside two-time MLS Cup finalist Kalen Carr, your commentary team. The opening 45 was edgy, it was chippy, it was unorganised at times, Kalen. It was exactly what we thought we'd see in the opening 45, but now what to expect in the second 45?
Well, I think Toronto FC will be relatively pleased, considering that it's 0-0 at halftime and they haven't given up too much as far as clear opportunities. The one header from Brian White has been the best so far for them.
Laborda picking up the scraps on the far side. No doubt the two wide players of Vancouver Whitecaps, Ali Ahmed and Jaden Nelson, will want to have their say today. Both born and raised in Toronto, came to Toronto FC games as young boys. Now an opportunity with the throw on the far side through Tristan Blackman, the former LAFC man. Throw in is easily dealt with by Derek Etienne, who takes no chances whatsoever. Nelson. Silinovic. Ali Ahmed. Over 50 MLS appearances now for Vancouver Whitecaps with the Torontonian. Jean-Claude Ngandel. his moments in the first half, and now Vancouver have to defend as Federico Bernardeschi manoeuvres forward. Kerr amongst the forest of Vancouver players. Osorio. Rosted taken down by the sternest of challenges from Jayden Nelson. So no changes at half-time for either side, as both seek the opening goal in the all-Canadian clash here today on Matchday 6 on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. So many games coming your way this evening. San Diego, LAFC, the highlights, no doubt. Coesho into Bernardeschi. Here come TFC in the cold, in the rain. Good ball forward, easily gathered by Takaoka.
Once again, it's Vancouver sending numbers at Bernardeschi. This time he looks to pick his head up, try and play his way out of it instead of dribbling, and just doesn't quite get that final action right as far as that pass to a teammate. But that's the better path forward for him, is to look to pass and move and play off each other. Hasn't been able to connect as of yet.
Ali Ahmed interrogating. Ahmed across and wins the corner.
Again, that big switch to Ahmed, running right at Wingo. Another corner kick, putting him under pressure.
Ali Ahmed back in the day actually trained with the Toronto FC Academy and was offered a contract, but wanted to try his luck in European football. Ended up in Vancouver. They pushed themselves forward and Rosted away. Nelson happy to retreat to Andres Cubas. Thrust forward now for Bernardeschi. Can Toronto make something of this? Bernardeschi. Etienne. Jean-Claude Ngando on defensive duties for Vancouver this time. Flag has been raised on the near side. The referee will wander now over to DeAndre Kerr, who seems to have a problem.
Like away from the ball there, Sebastian Berhalter and DeAndre Kerr making his run into the box there, and don't see a lot in that in the moment, at least, but Kerr clearly got the worst of it.
Well, as we said earlier on, DeAndre Kerr from Ajax, Ontario, just 32 miles east of here. Local boy, for whom Toronto FC mean everything. 2 goals in the last 2 games. For a third time in his career, he's never scored 3 in 3. 18 goals across all competitions over the last couple of years for Toronto FC, given the opportunity today, and this why he finds himself on the ground.
Yeah, and you can see Sebastian Berhalter there just getting an arm on him, but I actually think it's the follow-through that ends up accidentally stepping on Kerr. That's just a painful one. I don't think there's enough in that to send that to video review for any sort of review there, but it's like a painful one nonetheless.
Well, should he be needed, Robin Fraser does have Ola Brynhildsen, the Norwegian centre forward, available on the bench. We are hearing there is going to be a change away from DeAndre Kerr. We're being told that Cozy Thompson is coming in for Henry Wingo, and this would be for the 2nd week in a row, although Henry Wingo came off at half-time at Red Bull New York last week. This doesn't look good at all for DeAndre Kerr. There's Cozy Thompson, another homegrown player from these parts, born and raised in Toronto. This player that was spotted by former TFC midfielder and former Vancouver midfielder Terry Dunfield, who was credited with scouting Cozy Thompson. Played at right wing back in the last 3 games. Now it seems, Caelan, he'll be asked to come and play it right back again.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult one too, because as well, here's Wingo coming through earlier tackle. I saw them testing out Wingo at halftime just to see how his fitness and availability was. Had been out several weeks heading into last few matches, worked his way back into the team, and this is where they gave up the second goal last week. Kosi Thompson was out of sorts, not able to keep that back line, so that's been the way that they've had to make changes. Robin Fraser has had to shift and change that back line. Saint-Mon Luis also picked up a knock in that Red Bull game. He's on the bench today, but not quite fit enough to go, and it's difficult when you change defensively to keep that line, and that's what happened last week for the second one for Red Bull, where Forsberg was able to get the winner.
And now Robin Fraser has to change his front line as well, with DeAndre Kerr departing the game early. Ola Brynhildsen, who has had a niggling injury to deal with over the last couple of weeks, now back into the fray as the ball is thrashed across, and Kosi Thompson called into action for the first time. A corner now for Vancouver. Which side will find the opening goal here today? Can Vancouver find a way through this? Set pieces have been so important over the course of their campaign thus far. Berhalter to the near post it goes. It falls now for Blackman. And wide.
You can see Berhalter with the outswinger, and a knockdown there. Drops to Blackman. Tries to control it off the chest. It's a difficult one to get on top of it. Need to strike that one down to really get a hold of it, but the sixth corner so far for Vancouver in this match. They've continued to apply pressure.
Already has a goal this season, just Tristan Blackman in the 1-0 victory at FC Dallas several weeks ago. Now Blackman and co with some defending to do as Toronto win a free kick. We'll see a rather abrasive challenge from the Brompton, Ontario native Jaden Nelson.
Yeah, how often have we seen this though throughout this match? Defensively, he's putting the shift, running, tracking back.
So if things weren't already difficult enough for Robin Fraser and Toronto FC, next up away to Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez and Inter Miami, April 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff right here on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. In the meantime, Bernardeschi brings it forward now for TFC. Thompson just on for Henry Wingo, for those of you joining us late. DeAndre Kerr also departing due to what we assume is an injury. Ola Brynhildsen in.
This is the best I've seen the team defend Bernardeschi last several years. The way they're sending numbers at him, just swarming him, not allowing him any time and space, and he's been parked on this right flank throughout the first half. We saw the one I was critical of, where he was not able to get into the box when DeAndre Kerr was able to slip in, and turned him more into a spectator and frustrated him, continually putting numbers around him, not allowing him any sort of pathway into this game.
Fraser said last week they weren't high enough against Red Bull New York. They simply couldn't get out of their own half, but they grew into the game and took positives moving into this game. You wonder, Kalen Carr, what positives he'll take from the performance thus far.
I think there's a lot of pressure, because you mentioned that next game is against Inter Miami, and Toronto FC are at a point where they need to get one they're not supposed to right now. That's the way the schedule has gone for them, playing against the first in the West right now, and then next week the first in the East and the leaders in the Supporters Shield with Lionel Messi, and that one being away. So to be maybe not at your best, but to be 56 minutes in and at least be level right now. They've had to dig their way out of trouble so many times this season. At least they're on level terms at this point, and haven't given up too many opportunities outside of the set pieces. They've been strong defensively, but have to think of how they're going to find their way into this game. It may not be pretty. See Brynhildsen here just trying to back press there. Kubas defensively, that's where they're going to need to try to create their opportunities.
Ola Brynhildsen trying to make his mark on the game after coming on just a few moments ago. Andres Kubas needing medical attention, it seems. What has been, unsurprisingly, a feisty contest here today. Well, get ready for more matchday action later tonight when MLS Countdown comes your way at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Host Kalen Kyle and the crew will get you all set for the night's action right here on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. As we said, so many mouth-watering games coming your way. LA Galaxy, Orlando City, LAFC, San Diego FC, perhaps the most noticeable of them. Certainly he'll have his eyes on the San Diego LAFC contest towards the peak of the Western Conference. This is the reason for the stoppage in the game at the moment. Andreas Cubas finds himself on the deck, Kalen.
Yeah, and the Paraguayan international just looks like came down, and the way he came down there, it looked like he was grabbing his upper arm or shoulder area, and you would have braced yourself. It's always a tricky one, especially on this hard surface. We were down on the pitch before the game, and it's slick. There's no underground heating surface, and I know I'm not from the north here, but it was cold, and that pitch seemed hard to me as well. So when you see Cubas go down on top of that, the amount of games he's played on international duty as well as through the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and the high stakes as well, considering they've got Pumas coming to Vancouver just on Wednesday. Have to be careful and monitor how that shoulder is.
Well, Jesper Sorgensen thought it was necessary to rest Pedro Vite today with Pumas in the week and the CONCACAF Champions Cup game in the week on mind. Andreas Cubas, of course, played 90 minutes in the World Cup qualifying victory over Chile in Asunción in Paraguay just a few days ago. We're being told that Pedro Vite is going to enter the fray now, perhaps a little earlier than Jesper Sorgensen would have wanted. Nevertheless, needs must. Andreas Cubas needing to come out of the game. We're also being told that Vancouver are making another change, and Emmanuel Sabi will be coming in for Jaden Nelson momentarily as well. But in the meantime, Kalen, a like-for-like change in the centre of midfield with Cubas departing and Vite entering.
Yeah, but it's concerning though with Cubas coming out, because for me he's one of the best sixes in MLS and really underrated. But with his quality, his ability to win balls and then keep possession to progress the ball forward, there's really nobody else like him in MLS. And I think of the one loss they have in his absence. Of course, there were a number of other pieces missing, but I think you take the heart and soul right out of that sixth position from Cubas. And as I mentioned, with the CONCACAF Champions Cup coming up, timing right now, it's difficult.
Surprised with this, Kalen? Jaden Nelson departing this early?
No, I think he's had a bright match to it, put in the defensive work rate, but hasn't really had much success against Pretreta. We're looking to break things down, and you see Sabi's come in, got his first minutes last week. They've had to use their depth. Sorensen has not been afraid to use it, and so at a certain point with the number of matches they have, 5 of course, in their next 15 days, you're going to have to rotate. You also need to bring some new energy in. Vite coming into the match, you know, maybe they wanted to give him a little bit more rest, but still, with the injury to Cubas, he steps in. Berhalter, I think, drops back a line to that sixth position, with Vite being a little bit more advanced.
Emmanuel Sabe coming into the fray, born in Italy but raised in the United States, of course, has a cap for the US to his name already. Played in Spain, Denmark, and of course joined Vancouver in February after 2 years at Le Havre in the French top flight. Had an ankle injury that has delayed his debut up until last week, as Kalen mentioned. 26 minutes against Chicago Fire last week. Now with a little bit more time to make his mark here at BMO Field today. So here's Lombada nudging the ball forward. An hour played in the all-Canadian clash on match day 6 on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Callum Williams and two-time MLS Cup finalist Kalen Carr, your commentary team. Here's Vasilinovic. Sabi. Referee spots a foul in the build-up. The forecast was right in these parts. Freezing rain now starting to sprinkle down onto the field at BMO Field. Very Torontonian at this stage of the year. In the meantime, here's Jean-Claude Ngando. Ali Ahmed. Angled ball in is cleared away for the time being. Vite. Ecuador international into Sabi. Sabi's high hanging ball in over the head of Ahmed. Johnson. Ahmed across goal. Steered up into the sky by Petretta. Rosted doing enough. Sabi getting the half a yard he needs. Vite now down under the challenge, meaning a free kick deep in enemy territory for Vancouver.
And both teams have struggled to play through this slick surface to try to find the combination play to break down, and just clever feet here from Vite. Just give that slight hesitation to throw Etienne in, to throw the bait. He takes it. A dangerous set piece with Berhalter standing on top of this, and Vite with that left foot, another option to go up and over the wall here.
Well, it's been a game where chances have been few and far between. It does feel as though it may very well take something special to find the opening goal today. The angle favouring the left foot of Pedro Vite, but don't count out the right of Sebastian Berhalter either. What can Vancouver conjure here? It is Vite! It's easily gathered by Sean Johnson.
He just tries to use the slick surface there, but just doesn't get enough on it from Vite.
The other end, Bernardeschi pressing forwards. Blackman across the cover. Seemed as though Bernardeschi left a foot in there. One or two Vancouver players unhappy with the challenge from the former Italian international. Referee with the yellow card in his hand. Given in the way of Federico Bernardeschi. This is why.
Bernardeschi, you bank on him to beat one, but three, it's not happening. And that's been the story throughout the entire match. They've continued to send numbers towards him, and it's been pretty simple for Vancouver. Defensively, they've set themselves up. Rest defense has been there, and anytime they've tried to break through Bernardeschi, Blackman's been the safety valve, coming over in time and space, and I don't mind that from Berhalter coming over and defending his teammate. And it's a late one there from Bernardeschi, and that's part of what I've seen from Vancouver throughout this season, is a little bit of that bite. Personality, I've liked that so far this season for them.
The matchday live scores and schedule are presented by AT&T. 1-1 in the other early game between New England Revolution and Red Bull New York. A litany of mouth-watering games coming your way later. Atlanta, New York City, Miami, Philadelphia. Chicago hosting CF Montreal will be of particular interest in these parts, no doubt. Nashville, Cincinnati, LA Galaxy, Orlando City and San Diego LAFC. All of major interest here over the next few hours. And of course, let's not forget Sunday night soccer. Portland Timbers, Houston Dynamo, right here on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV tomorrow night. In the meantime, Emmanuel Sabi on the far side for Vancouver Whitecaps. Twisting and turning. Sabi across goal and deflected behind for a corner.
It's a great ball there from Berhalter. That big switch to Sabi. Vancouver have used that more on the other direction, looking for Ali Ahmed on the far side. This time with Sabi, this time gets squared up. As we talked about with the substitution with Jaden Nelson coming off and just giving a different look, and one-on-one, see the ability.
We are being told both Tyrese Spicer and Davy Flores are set to enter momentarily. In fact, here they are now. So it's the end of the evening for Derek Etienne. The night ends prematurely as well for Alonso Coelho in the centre of midfield, and one would assume, Kalen, it's like-for-like changes for TFC.
Yeah, absolutely. Spicer has just got his first cap with Trinidad and Tobago, coming in confident. Some assists in that series against Cuba, so coming in, looking to make a difference in this game.
Can Vancouver offer from yet another set piece here? A whole host of possibilities awaiting the service. Flashed across goal, towards the edge it goes. Emmanuel Sabi! Good save from Johnson. Cleared away by Toronto FC for the time being. Has to go down as perhaps the best opening in the second half of Vancouver. Here's Jean-Claude Ngando. Ali Ahmed. Blackman. Through the legs of Insigne into Berhalter. Clipped forward looking for Brian White. Headed up by Bernardeschi into the path of Johnson. Good save from Johnson, who's been a busy boy in the last 60 seconds.
Yeah, but Asabi on this back post here, who's alert. He's had a couple good moments. Lovely little left-footed touch there and just tries to hit it to the back post. It's a strong left hand there from Johnson to stay behind it. But Asabi coming into the game, he's already made his imprint felt so far with 2 good opportunities so far early.
Gomes stepping forward for Toronto. Bernardeschi now. Brynhildsen, goal scorer across Scandinavian football for many a year. On loan from Midtjylland in the Danish Super League. In a recent spell with Molde, where he once won a league title in Norway, 10 goals in 11 appearances in a recent loan spell back at FC Molde. Can he find his first goal in Major League Soccer in the next 20 minutes or so? Cue on the far side. Well, the heat map is presented by IHG. 19 brands, 6,000 destinations. Download the app today. Ali Ahmed, unsurprisingly, Kalen Carr has been a very busy boy. Here he is on the ball again.
Yeah, we've seen him play a number of different positions, both for Vancouver and the Canadian men's national team. And Ray Sorensen has him with interchanging a little bit with Johnson, tucking inside often as that sort of 8, and then allowing Ahmed to drift into those wide areas and get isolated one-on-one.
Spicer with his first interaction since coming on. A free kick now for Toronto. Aboard of the guilty party.
The last bit for Ali Ahmed is just that final ball, that final touch, that final activity to really sort of make that difference. That's the one piece missing in his game as of right now. He's got the ability. Interesting profile, just sort of glides by guys, but that final pass, as of yet, for all of Vancouver, has been missing.
Ulla Brynhildsen, clearly dismayed with the referee's decision. Feels as though, if anything, he was the one that was fouled. Nevertheless, Vancouver now in possession, and Blackman surveying the scene. Here is Ahmed. Ngando, binding with Johnson. Berhalter. Delicious ball to the far side. Here's Sabi. Just seems to overrun the ball, but the last touch off of a red Toronto player, Raul Petretta, and behind for a corner. Can Berhalter, with the 7th Vancouver corner of the afternoon, find a fellow Vancouver Whitecaps player?
See Vancouver lining up with line of 6. Keep an eye on Sabi on that back post where he was able to get the knockdown just on that last opportunity.
Swinging ball, the heads go up, it's cleared over to the left-hand side. White showed an interest in Insigne, he's able to clear. Sabi, Ahmed, a host of bodies looking to combine on the edge. Toronto and several players making the clearance necessary. Flores' clearance has turned into a pass. Here's Brynhildsen manoeuvring inside here. Ulla Brynhildsen down. Referee says no. Much to the dismay of thousands at BMO Field. Vancouver now at the other end. it. Evading Flores. A free kick now for Vancouver, and the home fans are apoplectic here. They cannot believe the referee didn't give them a free kick earlier on for this.
It's a good cut back across here from Brynhildsen. Just is looking to create position, but he just stumbles himself and goes down. There's nothing in it for me, but the next one, Davy Flores, to me, looked like he won the ball clearly and cleanly. He's not awarded for it. It was a good opportunity, once again, for Toronto FC to get out in transition.
Again, the whistle blown in favour of Vancouver. Lucas Schwaller sharing the spotlight momentarily. Poignantly delivered into the path of Ali Ahmed. Here's Johnson now for Vancouver Whitecaps, down under the challenge. This time the referee says no, and TFC can start again.
See Johnson going one-on-one, it gets caught on his own foot there. Oh, but that last touch there from Davy Flores goes out off him. It's missed by the referee.
Insigne, labelled insignificant in his last performance against Red Bull New York by the home faithful here. Unable to pick out a pass this time. So just over 15 minutes remaining in the contest, Kalen Carr, what have you made of the second half?
Well, the tempo is raising for sure here, and both teams looking to get out quickly. And it's been a bit sloppy, though. It's difficult to keep control of it. A few referee decisions as well that have been missed, and both teams looking to try to find that difference.
Here come Vancouver. Over on the far side, the ball is ricocheted behind for a throw. Tretta on hand once again. Matthias Laborda. Vancouver working around to the other end. Berhalter's ball in. Slenovic got a piece of it and behind for a goal kick. So what now, Kalen Carr, from a Toronto FC perspective with 15 minutes remaining? What's the messaging from Robin Fraser and the coaching staff?
I think just more of the same. Hold defensively, be strong, try to keep the clean sheet. A point right now for them wouldn't be the worst result.
Perhaps they can find more. Had Takaoka not have rushed outside his penalty area, Brynhildsen may have been in behind.
Yeah, and as this game begins to open up, that's exactly what you're looking for. Vancouver trying to push a bit, sending numbers forward, especially on any set-piece opportunity. They have had a number of them. We've seen Brynhildsen a few times looking to get in behind and stretch them.
Sorio, twinkle-toed, desperate to find a way through, and Berhalter came across the shield and wins a free kick.
See, Osorio does really well here to get by Johnson, and then it's good positioning here from Berhalter, who just holds him off him and waiting for the referee to come make that call and go the other direction.
In all seriousness, Berhalter's done very well there.
He can play a number of different positions, and tempo is just raised. Davy Flores looking to get in it. Perfect substitution to come in for this type of match as well, but going back to Berhalter, he's had a really good season. To me, he just looks confident. You know, just 23 years old, but a lot was made last week with the matchup against his father, and played a bunch of different positions for them. Done really well with his opportunities.
Insigne into Spicer. Tyree Spicer! Gathered by Takaoka. As you mentioned, Kalen, the decibels, the tempo rising here at BMO Field. Even on match day 6, the importance of victory is obvious here today. Vancouver with so much football to play in the next couple of weeks. Toronto just need to find a win.
Yeah, but there's an air of desperation which you can feel here in the stadium, and rightly so, with the way Toronto FC are and needing to find their way to get a result. Only the second home match of the season.
This exclusive NetCam replay brought to you by T-Mobile. Sean Johnson has been a busy boy today, Kalen.
Yeah, and he's come up with the big save when he's needed to. Even last week had a big save at Red Bull Arena to keep them in it, and then go down the other direction. Derek Etienne Jr. with the assist to DeAndre Kerr to keep him in it, and make no mistake about it, they've given up too much so far this season. The most goals in MLS, 12 goals against, and have to get back to the basics. That's why I think for a positive so far, that hold a clean sheet against one of the best attacks in the West.
Take Johnson across to receive some instructions from Jesper Sorkensen. For a moment, it did seem as though Daniel Rios was set to enter, as the Red Patch boys and co continue to make noise, as they have done for an eternity in these parts. And Ole Brynhildsen has certainly given Toronto an attacking spark, which they may have lacked in the earlier stages of the game. There's Rios, of course, scored his first goal for Vancouver Whitecaps against Chicago Fire in the home loss last weekend. It's almost going to be a double change for Vancouver Whitecaps. In the meantime, though, Daniel Rios spent last season, of course, on loan with Atlanta United. Loan again from Chivas Guadalajara. Ali Ahmed, the player departing, it seems. Daniel Rios entering the fray now for Vancouver Whitecaps. There's also going to be a further change for Vancouver. Didier Ocampo, the Colombian, is set to enter for Matias Laborda, who seemed to have a problem a little earlier on as well. But I do wonder, Caleb, what the introduction of Daniel Rios does to the shape now for Vancouver.
Yeah, I think it'll be two up top now to partner alongside Brian White. Looking at the profile of both players. Also the way this match has gone, a lot of set pieces, corners, looking for a little bit more of an aerial presence, and Rios brings more of that, and it's likely not going to be the beautiful build-up you might see in other occasions at this point. Need an extra body in the box and a partner up top for Brian White.
Tretta down the line. It's Tucker Olka. Not had too many saves to make today. Selby tussling on the far side. Vite. Thrusting forward now for a first touch for Daniel Rios. Johnson lending a helping hand. Angled ball played in. Rosted towards the edge. Vite let fly, didn't catch the ball. Here's Berhalter now. Spicer and Toronto back in possession. Sardi desperate to keep the ball in possession for Vancouver. Stern challenge, and the referee allows play to continue. Brynhildsen now then. Insigne went down. Yellow card brandished and a free kick for Toronto FC. Didier Ocampo's only just come on.
It's a good step there from Flores, who's been a good introduction as far as winning balls and then looking to get out there. And Ocampo is just coming to the match there. You can see just on the top of your screen, catches the heels there of Lorenzo Insigne, and rare opportunity now for Toronto FC from set piece position with the two Italians standing on top of it.
Well, this would be quite something. Just under 10 minutes remaining in the all-Canadian clash here on match day 6 of Major League Soccer's 2025 season. Lorenzo Insigne wasn't really supposed to be here. The suggestion was he was going to leave the football club after last year. Said no to several moves abroad. Wanted to remain committed to the cause here at Toronto. Can he find a way forward now for TFC? Bernadeschi showing an interest as well. Angled ball in Flores! Good save from Takaoka. Big opening for Toronto. We now manoeuvre forward again. Flores across. It'll trickle behind for a throw. Signs of life for TFC.
Yeah, it's a clever set piece here with both Italians. You're expecting one of them to have a go of it, and instead Bernardeschi stands it up to a completely naked Davy Flores on the back post, and he needs to head that one across the frame. Instead comes at the near post, and Takaoka does a good job of staying behind it, but we're thinking they were going to have a go on net, and just hits it right directly at Takaoka instead of aiming towards that back post. But a clever set piece there where you're thinking they're going to go for net, and instead looking to the back post to Flores.
The match momentum is presented by Old Spice. And in truth, Cale and Cara, in terms of momentum, we've seen both sides have moments of it throughout the contest.
Yeah, but it's been more Vancouver's direction, as you would expect, and Toronto FC looking for anything in transition, which for the most part has been handled well by the rest defensive Vancouver, but still won't matter at all to Toronto. Hasn't been pretty. Still in it.
Jean-Claude Ngando. Offside flag raised. Free kick for TFC. The decibels rising here at BMO Field as we enter the final stages of the game, and even at this stage of the campaign on match day 6, a game that means so much in these parts. We try telling these two sides this isn't a rivalry game. Also with the context of what's to come in the next couple of weeks as well for Vancouver, 5 games in 15 days. Toronto FC, one of 6 teams remaining without a win in Major League Soccer this season. What victory would mean for either side, and we have 6 minutes plus added time remaining here at BMO Field. 6 minutes plus added time for either side to find a goal.
Yeah, but for Toronto FC, the belief of keeping a clean sheet and even getting a point in this match, I think would be a big positive, and you can feel the fan base coming alive and coming behind this team, and that's important. Robin Fraser has talked about the resilience of this group, and even in a not a beautiful day, cold weather, difficult conditions, to scrap one out, I think that would be something to build on.
In the meantime, here's Tristan Blackman. Branko Veselinovic. The rain continues to pour here in downtown Toronto. Here come Vancouver and Ocampo, Colombian fullback.
And on the other side of it, Vancouver have been very good in the dying moments of matches. We've seen them snatch winners a few times already early in this season. Cannot only need one chance from Brian White to make the difference.
Spicer tussling. Vancouver back in possession. Fist beautifully into the path of Rios. Here's Johnson, who's remained onside. Johnson's ball in, and Sorio repelling for TFC. Here's Berhalter. Looking good as well for this Vancouver Whitecaps side. No Ryan Gold. Jean-Claude Ngando gets the half a yard he needs. Ngando across, still not cleared away. Rosted doing all he could. Johnson. Come Vancouver again. Deflected cross behind for a corner. Robin Fraser, his team conjure the dying embers of the game. Defence on their mindset for the time being. late winning goal in this game here. Berhalter over the set piece. Myriad of maybes awaiting the service. Berhalter's ball in, away by the head of Rosted. Sabi across goal, to the back post it goes, and towards goal and crab away. Johnson doing just about enough.
So often on set pieces, it's the second phase that can be the most dangerous, and it's a good ball back across the frame, and Veselinovic gets ahead to it, and Sean Johnson in the right position to get both hands to it.
Berhalter again from the opposing side. Veselinovic no doubt a target once again. Berhalter fizzes to the back post. No takers this time. Sabi. Back across goal he goes. There's half-hearted appeals for hands from behind for a corner now. Tension at its peak. Can Vancouver find a way here? Post this time. Veselinovic once again latching on to the end.
Difficult from that angle to try to get that one on frame there. And that's double-digit corner kick so far for Vancouver. Toronto FC have defended well.
Vancouver make a late change. Jean-Claude Ngando off, and Stephen Badwell, the homegrown player, Canadian under-20 international, coming into the fray. Let's not forget as well, Vancouver Whitecaps after the CONCACAF Champions Cup game against Pumas on Wednesday host Colorado Rapids on Saturday, April 5th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Tickets at MLSsoccer.com/tickets.
Vancouver have logged quite the mileage so far this early in the season, but have at least a whole slate of home games coming up, which will help as they go through that fixture congestion with CONCACAF Champions Cup.
We are being told there's going to be as many as 8 minutes added on here. Don't you dare go anywhere. So, what can Toronto FC offer here? Insigne and Bernardeschi over the ball. There's confirmation of 8 minutes added time. It's presented by Audi. Insigne into the path of Bernardeschi. The angle change for the Italian. Bernardeschi! Taka Oka making a relatively routine save. So 8 nauseating, mouth-watering, lung-busting minutes remain in the frigid temperatures north of the border at BMO Field. Johnson flashing forward for TFC. Goalmice repelling. Here's Tyrese Spicer, fresh from international duty with Trinidad and Tobago. Stopped in his tracks for the moment. Vendretta seeking an outlet of some sort. Spicer and Insigne combining, as well as Osorio, who runs straight into trouble. Vancouver happy to retreat, and Taka Oka does the rest. Referee allows play to continue. Baby Flores with the ball now, the bright-booted Honduran. Just unable to pick out the run of Bernardeschi.
Once again, though, excellent positioning there from Blackman. consistently look for that ball, jump the lane.
Bad ball.
This is the type of match that will suit Toronto FC. You have to figure out as the season goes on what type of match and what type of team you are. And Robin Fraser, I think, has maybe discovered something. It may not be the most beautiful, free-flowing style that maybe we've seen him in the past with Toronto FC or even in his best days at Colorado Rapids, but right now this is where they are, and try to see this result out with a few minutes remaining.
Cheaply given away. Here come Vancouver. Johnson able to make the save at the near post. It will be a corner. Campo denied.
We have to be careful building out in these positions. Playing that ball backwards is a questionable one, and ends up coming to Ocampo. Has been bright coming in this match, dangerous, pushing forward, and Sean Johnson would like to hold on to that one, but just slips off for the corner.
And so, another set-piece opportunity for Vancouver Whitecaps. Can they find a way through this time? Litany of options for Berhalter, who plays it in. Completely cleared away. Sabi got a piece of it. Bryn Hilton on defensive duties. Johnson back in and behind for a goal kick. It's Cozy Thompson. Thompson thrashing forward now for Spicer. Perhaps now the turn of the home side at the other end. Spicer across! No takers for TFC.
It's a really good run from Spicer, who had an identical assist for Trinidad and Tobago just earlier this week here, and that ball just right across. Was just begging for someone to get on the end of it. Bryn Hilton was the closest, but excellent run there from Spicer.
Flores thrashing forwards. Bryn Hilton beaten to it by Vasilinovic. Campo now up against Spicer. Spicer on hand for Toronto. Spicer's ball in! Bryn Hilton got a touch, as did a Vancouver player, and behind for a corner.
That's twice now that Spicer's been able to get to that end line and just whip in an excellent ball in, and Bryn Hilton's run's just a little bit early. It's not at full speed, the timing is just off in the end, but excellent run there from Spicer to win that ball back, to push by, and ask some dangerous questions. Another good opportunity here for Toronto.
Cleared away at the near post. Thompson picks up the scraps. Into the wide areas he goes. First time cross delivered and up into the sky by Vasilinovic. Campo having to touch it over to the far side. Bernadeschi to deliver again for TFC in the dying embers of the game. Referee says the ball actually went out for a throw, it didn't go behind for a corner.
It's clever there from Bernadeschi to try to set that one down and act as if, and seemed to almost get away with it.
Nearly so. Nevertheless, this means a long throw will come in now from Tyree Spicer. Spicer's ball in. Blocked by Ocampo. Away by Brian White. Thompson. Pings it forward looking for Spicer. Greta involved in the build-up. Behind for another corner in the final minute of the game.
And just as you say, Toronto FC and Robin Fraser may be content to keep the clean sheet and play defensively, put their foot on the gas pedal and been the more dangerous side, looking for the winner here in these dying moments.
Entering now or never territory for TFC. Bernadeschi's ball in, clipped away, only as far as Insigne. Insigne again, still not cleared away. Well, he's thrown at the ball, cleared towards the cusp. Somehow, some way, Vancouver clear the ball away. Stop the counter-attack from Vancouver as well. We've had the 8 minutes. And there goes the final whistle. A fascinating contest, which ends goalless in the all-Canadian clash here at BMO Field, in what feels, Cale and Kyle, like a fair result.
Yeah, I think both teams will be pleased. Vancouver entering a difficult stretch of matches, getting a point on the road, cross-conference. It's never the worst result, and Toronto FC, I think, proved something to themselves and maybe to this fan base that, hey, we're at least going to scrap, we're going to fight for a team that conceded the most goals in MLS, 12 goals against, to keep a clean sheet against one of the best attacks in the Western Conference. I think this is something Robin Fraser will have to be pleased, something they can build on, find their foothold into the season potentially.
So a positive step in the right direction for Toronto FC, and given the miles that Vancouver have travelled in recent weeks, they will take the points, no doubts. This is the player of the match, and maybe Vancouver would have had more than a point had it not have been for the acrobatics and determination of Sean Johnson.
Yeah, he had to be really strong here and defensively organized, and right there, that left hand we've seen a few times already this season, had a massive save last week against Red Bull. Similar position to get down low, stay strong there, and here he just moves across through a crowd and punches that one out to safety. And this is the type of match that Toronto FC needed. Just a scrappy one, terrible weather, at home, something to prove, and making it ugly, and had to rely on Sean Johnson to step up a few big times, and with his experience, ever reliable once again today for Sean.
Well, the way that Toronto FC played today, Kalen, do we expect that to become more of a regularity against certain opponents this year?
I think that's just where they're at right now in their progression, and it gives them a foothold. It gives them something to build upon, because then once you say, okay, we can keep a clean sheet, they hadn't done it all season, so that puts a lot of pressure on the offense. Then you start to get stretched, and that's not the open game you want to go to, especially against this Vancouver team that can get up and go from all different types of weapons, from different wide areas and then up top. And I thought they were really strong. They bended, they didn't break, and I think that's something Toronto FC can build on. Eventually, they're going to have to build more, of course, add some players potentially, but right now, I think Toronto FC have to be really pleased, and for this fan base at home, something to build upon.
So the all-Canadian clash ends goalless, a point apiece for Toronto FC and Vancouver Whitecaps.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
And to handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Ready? MLS is game on. Dochi? On. Stars on.
Kevin Sullivan, the history maker.
30,000 friends? On. Rivalries on.
Red Bull New York versus New York City.
MLS, this is our soccer. Game on.
He's on the run! Cool as a cucumber! Beautiful wall pass! Brilliant! Just next the defender! Oh,
Linda asistencia.
Lowe's knows what a great assist can lead to.
Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. Celsius. Live fit.
ML party of 3.
Warm welcome back to the frigid temperatures here in downtown Toronto. Goalless between TFC and Vancouver Whitecaps at BMO Field. The match highlights are presented by the powerful backing of American Express, and both sides came into this one, Kalen Carr needing victory for very different reasons.
Yeah, and you can see here early on a shade of something to come here, and a lot of set-piece opportunities for Vancouver. I believe 12 on the match from corners, and really good save here from Sean Johnson to keep that left hand high there and get that strong left arm to it.
And Toronto had one or two half chances as well. Takaoka was able to rise to the task when needed.
And Spicer came in. It was a good substitution coming back from international duty after making his debut with Trinidad and Tobago. This was a rare set-piece opportunity where the two Italians ended up standing up on top of this one, and instead of going for it, it's a nice little wrinkle to pick out Davy Flores to the back post here, but unable to go back across the face of goal there. Directly goes at Takaoka. Does a good job holding position and getting both hands behind it.
Flores coming the closest for Toronto FC, and there were more chances in front of goal for Vancouver.
Yeah, this one was just knotted back across. Veselinovic is able to head this one back on frame, and Sean Johnson has to stay alert, moving through a crowd, and ends up punching that one to safety.
And it was Sean Johnson who preserved a first clean sheet of the season. The Vancouver Whitecaps also doing ever so well in front of their own goalkeeper. A fourth clean sheet of the campaign in all competitions for the Whitecaps. Statistically, Kalen Carr, what stood out to you today?
Well, the corners, for sure. It was 12-3, so 4 times as many. And that was the pressure that Vancouver was applying, that backed up by the XG. But as far as real clear opportunities, you know, there are few ones we showed from Sean Johnson, but he was able to stand behind them. And ultimately, I thought Toronto FC has something they can build off of, building their way into the season.
Well, as we mentioned, 4 clean sheets across all competitions for Vancouver Whitecaps. Leading them today was Tristan Blackman. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Into maybe some habits at the end there, which opened the game a little bit. But I think, yeah, we'll take the point. We're going to be happy with the point, I guess. But we definitely wanted to come here and win. On to the next. So.
Well, as you were alluding to earlier on, Kalen Carr, given the amount of miles that Vancouver Whitecaps have travelled in recent weeks, they'll take the point here today.
Yeah, but I think you can see there he had to think twice about that. And I think, you know, for this Vancouver team that's #1 in the West, this is the type of game where I don't see a big benefit of coming across Eastern Conference and taking a point out of it. That's why you saw them try to push the game and open themselves up a bit, but ultimately they'll have to settle for it.
A tinge of disappointment for the Whitecaps, but positivity now for Toronto FC. A first clean sheet of the season and a chance to move themselves forward. Goalless in the All-Canadian clash here today on match day 6.
ML party of 3. You ready? MLS is game on. Don't you? On. Stars on.
Kevin Sullivan, the history maker.
30,000 friends on. Rivalries on.
Versus New York City.
MLS, this is our soccer. Game on.
In '64, when everyone else tried to win on the straights, we won on the corners. Bending, swerving, blowing the bloody doors off. Floor it to your local mini dealer for unrivaled offers today.
At RBC Wealth Management, we know you have ideas for your future. Ideas that can have you taking more time off or putting more time in. They could mean more peace and quiet or more fun and games. Ideas you can drive or that drive you. From settling in to living it up, what ideas will you bring to life? No more with RBC Wealth Management.
Very warm welcome back to downtown Toronto and the frigid temperatures goalless between Toronto FC and Vancouver Whitecaps. But Kalen Carr in the first half, the closest Vancouver came was this moment, and Raul Petretta rose to the occasion.
Yes, the small details in the positioning here of Petretta to back up his goalkeeper, and I think that's why you see some of the XG so high for Vancouver, because that was in the back of the net. Sean Johnson was beat at this point, but Petretta is in the right position there. Thought had a really strong day.
The tournament is here. March Madness is here. The craziness is here. Don't forget, hit that like button down below and share this link out so we can get more basketball fans here in the chat, hanging out with us, cheering on your favorite team.
Clayton steals it and lays it in. Clayton a good look. Hit 6.
Check out our new website, www.torontosportsinsider.com, and check out the link that is in the description as well as in the chat that shows where all of the live viewers are watching from. Are you an insider yet? Have you hit that subscribe button? I bet you have now. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for checking out our Bracket Mania campaign. A lot more coming up soon.
Just haven't been able to do so. Bernard Thompson with a 3.
This is on play. What a great scene this is.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. This is Joe Bowen, the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Thanks for chatting it up and enjoying this March Madness live hangout with us.
Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
it's dominance on the line.
Hey, sweetie. You good?
Someone stole my Old Spice antiperspirant. Now I'm smelling like perspirant.
I did. Force 24/7 sweat protection.
You did this to my pets.
Stop it. Can we stop for food?
No, hay comida en la casa.
Julie needs tires. But to Julie, buying tires feels about the same as getting robocalls. Annoying. Don't answer that call, Julie. Discount Tire presents Treadwell. With just a few clicks, Treadwell analyzes millions of data points and delivers personalized results to you. Simple. Easy. Finally, you have someone who cares.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's a Western Conference showdown in one of the best environments MLS has to offer when Ezequiel Ponce and the Houston Dynamo visit Providence Park to take on David Acosta and the Portland Timbers on Sunday Night Soccer. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Eastern with MLS Countdown right here on MLS Season Pass. As we welcome you back into BMO Field one final time. Match day 6 scores and schedule look like this. The Revs finally, Kalen Carr, with their first goals and their first victory of the season.
Yeah, and who else? Carlos Hill. It was always going to be the name that was going to try to rescue them. And I saw highlights of the first one, and what a way to do it with the free kick into the upper corner of the net, and then the 97th minute winner at home. What a relief it must be for New England.
LA Galaxy, Orlando City, San Diego, LAFC. Just two of a plethora of options coming your way later today, right here on Season Pass on Apple TV. So then, what a day here at BMO Field. Goalless between Toronto and Vancouver. My thanks to Kalen Carr and the entirety of our production crew here at BMO Field. For other scores, highlights and the latest news from around MLS, check out the Sports tab in the Apple News app.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.